So I'm out of work, out of job one work, and I actually, today is the day that I work technically a double. And for some of you that have been following my channel and the problems that I've been having in regard to the maintenance and the cost of living of my apartment, you know that I went and got myself a second job. And that was for two reasons. One, I needed an extra income, and then also a situation had occurred with my first job where we were part of a state system, and I'll get into this in another video. And now we kind of got bought up or given over to a private company, and it's a situation where I was working extremely regularly and knew the exact amount that I made every month from the job. And they kind of gaslit the situation for a long time. They said nothing was going to change, and in reality it was exactly as I thought was going to happen, that it was going to become super on call. And that kind of got clarified today. I'm grateful that I have the second job, and right now I'm in a situation where I'm not panicking as much as I could be if I didn't have the second job, obviously. But the second job, I need to now figure out how to give them more of my time and do that within the next week or so to let them know that I'm available more, and to then hope that the first job ends up having some income to it, and taking this day by day. But I'm taken aback, but I'm not. I always thought that they were capable of this, and the first job, and when I would say that to them as well as other people, they would not believe me or think that I was overreacting. It's Dad, by the way. We just went grocery shopping. We're gonna go get some Chipotle now. I'm gonna try to be positive and manifest that this will work itself out. Like I said, I could be panicking a lot more right now if it weren't for the fact that I had already my second job. So I'm very grateful for that. I need to figure out how to go about having a talk with them that I'm now available more so, where more of my income will now be allocated toward from them. It's mind-boggling. There's going to be another video on this where it's much more in detail as to what how this all happened and the job and all that, which I think will give more clarity to this. Right now I'm just kind of digesting my thoughts. It's actually a situation where simultaneously as this occurred to me, at the same time, there are a number of people that were at this job who were full-time, who have been removed from the position, and in a very derogatory way, where they were essentially like humiliated amongst the other employees. And a lot of people were crying and very upset, as they have the right to be, because a lot of people, in a sense, built like a family community at this first job. So to be treated this way, where we were yo-yoed, in other words, when we first were alerted that this was going to happen during the summer, which then alerted me to go get my second job, we were told there would be no change to our income. And if anything, they kind of like laughed at us from the job, from the first job, when we expressed to them our concerns. We were like, am I going to have consistency? Am I going to be working? Like, how concerned do I need to be? And they would be like, oh, I'm going to make sure you're here. Like, it was like they weren't really hearing us. They were making fun of us. Then for a long time period, we were told nothing's going to change at all. Everything will be entered the same way. You'll get paid the same way. Then we had a situation happen where they actually ended up entering me into the system, and there's my work schedule, where I was essentially technically hired like an open position for the next 2-3 months. And then all of a sudden I noticed that was removed from like these pay sites that all these companies use today to monitor your pay. And so then all of a sudden I saw I was like being entered a day at a time, and I went to my supervisor. I'm like, what's happening? And oh yeah, the position that I had entered you in for is gone. No explanation, nothing. Like I said, I knew pretty much the exact amount of days I would work at this first job, the exact amount of money that I would expect on each paycheck. And this people would say like, oh, well, you never know with jobs. And that's true, but this had been the consistency at this job for the last 3 years. So while some could argue this doesn't sound like a very reliable job, it was at this particular location. And now it's a situation where it could be I make half of what I make now. That would be the goal, to come out with half of what I was making before, and half the amount of time and half the amount of days, and then combine it with my other job, which I'm going to give more time to. But we don't really know what's going to happen with it. I've been very concerned about this for days now, at least days now, regarding like seeing the way my days were getting entered on the system. And for next week, depending on, I'm going to try to post this within a day or so. So my work schedule technically for the next week, normal work days, Monday through Friday, technically nothing would have changed comparing the current system to the old system, because we always had to take off a certain amount of days before, having to do with like companies not wanting you to have insurance and all that. So technically I'm scheduled appropriately for the next week. So in a sense, it's like almost like I'm giving myself a grace period that, during this week is when I'm going to be getting in touch with my second employer, either face-to-face or by email or a combination of stuff. And we've got some stuff going on, so it's like kind of like a busy time right now. So I'll try to find the best time to communicate with them about upping my hours. And I think once I do that, what will have happened is I will actually have switched the first job for the second job in terms of income, pretty much almost exact. And then the first job that I've given so much of my soul to will end up becoming the extra job, which I'm hoping, brings in at least half of what I was earning before. I'm very, I'm not, like I said, for two reasons. I'm not in as much of a shocked state as I could be right now. One, because I greatly anticipated this and protected myself in a sense with my second job. And two, because I think I've thought about it so much that nothing really shocks me with these people anymore. So now I'm at the mall and I'm gonna go get some food and all that. Ooh, Halloween decorations. Hey, decorative taco land. Cool. So I'm not gonna probably put it in this video where I have been working. I almost said have been, because that's how it feels. It feels like a firing, but it's not a firing. It's who knows how many hours I'll be working. I'm gonna make an entire video where I really get into it, and I think it may surprise people. I don't know. I don't know if it'll surprise you or not, but I'm gonna talk about it in the next video. And so I'm just eating now, and trying to clear my head a little. I'm trying to remain positive that things are gonna work out financially. I have a little bit of a cushion, like I said, that I know I have another job, and so I'm hoping that things work out in that sense. Let me show you my food. We have the bowl, an assortment of drinks, chips, food. This is the phone charger, juice, the dada. Say hello to the people.
Hello.
Okay. More apple juice, and yeah. So we're just gonna eat now, and I'm gonna try to manifest that things are gonna work out. You know, it's not a situation where I've lost the first job entirely. It's just a situation where, I mean, it could be 10% of what I was working and making, so I cannot rely on that income anymore. It has to be a situation now where that's an extra. So, you know, thank God I got the second job, and I now need to work on upping the hours there. So that's the start of this weekend. So we ate, and I feel a little better that I ate because I had just gotten out of my first job. I feel, my mind feels a little like rattled, because there's just been so much of a yo-yo. In reality, this is exactly what I was worried about. But maybe because they lied to me and yo-yoed me, and actually enabled me to stay here, right? If they had been more honest with me and been like, oh, this is going to happen, maybe I would have been more inclined to have left. So maybe with the dots connecting, it allowed for me more leisurely to find my second job. You know what I mean? If they had told me from the get-go, you're right, we're screwing you all over, I don't know how much hope I would have had. So maybe in the long run, this will be fine.
Wait till they find out who you work for.
One of the worst fields we could go into.
They are going to be so surprised.
So I ate, and I feel better, and honestly I feel better that I'm at the mall. Going to try to remain positive and still take care of myself. So I'm stressed, but obviously I could be, I just like, there's something on my neck. I could be a lot more stressed, you know. Thankfully you're working a little bit too now, more than a little bit. Your dad's working. And his job is actually a lot more consistent than mine. And what's funny is they're treating him better in his environment than me, who's worked for them for 3 years. So it's a little bit, you know, but there's so much I could say. And things that were said to me at this first job, things that are not acceptable, which I'll probably start to get into. But I guess I have to shift gears now mentally and be like, I'm at the mall, I'm eating, I'm relaxing a little bit before, you know, work, and you know, relaxing a little bit, but bewildered, very, very bewildered. Try to walk around a little bit, maybe get a coffee at some point. So now we're having a coffee, just sharing a coffee. Still trying to clear my head because it's just like mind-boggling. I guess one of my coping mechanisms of the way they yo-yoed me is if they had been more upfront about this from day one, even though this was the concern, that it was going to go from, you know, come every day situation to limited with scheduling, I may not have had the to try to make it work here, and then with the second job starting. So maybe in a sense the false hope the gaslighting from them delayed me making a decision I
You would've
didn't
walked
want to
on the
make.
second job.
Yeah, and said that it's not going to be enough, when in reality, you're working now, we're going to try to figure everything out.
What was my situation with the job I have? Was I working at that time, or it was supposed to get started?
That we hoped it was going to get going as well, but
we didn't know the status.
Right, so that is where we're at. I'm just having a coffee, and I hope everything kind of just works out, and yeah. And I will touch base with you guys before I go home for the evening and let you know how my evening went. So we are sitting and reflecting, and I think that we're not as panicked about the situation because, you know, it's like it's better to have multiple jobs going at the same time, and that obviously protects you a little bit from these types of things. I don't know that the job has fizzled down to zero, but it could be a situation where it's a tenth. It could be half. I don't really know, so therefore I can't rely on it as my income anymore. It would be more extra. It's certainly a little bewildering. And then I heard one of the employees that regularly was also doing the same type of position will not basically be used at all anymore. So, and this is someone who is very elderly and relies on their income. They take a bus to work for 45 minutes each way. In the heat. They told me they're on welfare, and I don't even know that the employer has fully made it aware to them yet how much they are going to be extraordinarily minimally used. People would ask, well, like, how were they working there before? Were they really needed? It was the type of situation, I'll get into it in the next video, and then it'll make more sense, where they had roles certainly that they were filling, but they were also doing a lot of what probably would be called helping roles, where now, because of this new system that's in place, there's not as much wiggle room to be just helping rather than fulfilling a very, very specific bookkeeping role.
It'll all make sense next video.
Yeah, so it's very perplexing. I'm hoping that it makes more sense. When I do the next video, you'll understand a little bit more the dynamic, but the situation I went from was when I found out that the job was being taken over by this private company. This is what I predicted would happen, that it would go from come in every day to extremely limited, and that the bookkeeping had to be like this, and unless you were doing a specific role, you could no longer be there in a helping type of way. I don't even know that this poor elderly woman understands that when she arrives at work on Monday, she could potentially be told to leave, or at the best case scenario, maybe that role at the end of the day that I said, oh, I'm going to be doing that instead, maybe she'll take the role I thought I was going to do that day and be safe for one day and have one day's work, but she's not going to be their priority anymore, which is extremely sad, because I think I heard that she had been in this role for 20 years, and I worked in this for 3 years, and I've done so much more than just show up. And I'm grateful that I have the second job, but you know, I'm just trying to remain positive and manifesting that, switching out one for the other, and things will work out. But so yeah, I'm just kind of trying to take the day one bit at a time, and I'll check in with you guys in the later part of the evening. So I am now done with work for the evening. Worked, you know, 2 jobs technically today. I look a little tired, but quite frankly, I'm happy and grateful to be working, but you know, it's on my mind how I'm going to deal with this. So I'm very perplexed as to what's going to happen now at my first job, because I just don't know what's going to happen or what the consistency is going to be like now with the job. So I don't know what to think, what to say. I will have to wait and see. I'm scheduled for the next week, but I don't know what's going to happen. I'm starting to touch base with my second employer now, which I am much happier with the environment, and the consistency is much more, and trying to now start to touch base on how to increase my hours. So yeah, I'm just a little like confused and feeling kind of beaten down by the way they've treated me at this first job. So yeah, I want to start documenting more on a daily basis my life and being more open with that, because I feel like my content has actually been lacking because I wasn't willing to open up. So this is me starting to open up. I'm going to make a video where I really start to discuss what I've been doing, especially with the first job. So thank you so much guys for watching. I'm going to head home now and try to edit either this or another video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you all. I have Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, and I will see you soon in my next video, and bye!